Elara Vance stood alone at the far end of the training hall, shadowed beneath the glow of 3 overhead grav lights. Her breath was steady, boots planted, eyes locked ahead. The other cadets filtered in, their chatter sharp with laughter and species-specific clicks, grunts, or hisses. None spared her a glance longer than contempt required. The Interstellar Coalition Officer Academy preached unity. Its hallways were lined with banners of peace, its speeches full of "Together we rise." But Elara had learned quickly, unity meant assimilation, and humans were still very much the outsiders. Today, barked Instructor Korak, a 6-limbed Suthari whose carapace reflected the light like polished obsidian, we test unarmed response reflex. Pairs will spar. No weapons. No augmentations. Just body versus body. Elara tensed. Sparring always turned into a spectacle when her name was called. "Vance, you're with Drac." Snickers. A few mock gasps. Of course. Drac was Zurich's cousin, a younger version of the same arrogance, armored in scaled muscle and smug superiority. He strutted forward, slapping his fists together with theatrical glee. "Apologies, human," Drac said, bowing in mock courtesy. "It might be difficult holding back." Elara didn't reply. She simply stepped onto the mat, rotated her neck once, and settled into stance. Calm. Precise. Measured. The buzzer blared. Drac lunged, not a probing feint, but a full-speed charge, claws extended. Illegal. Elara ducked, pivoted, planted her heel, and brought her elbow around, striking his side. He grunted but recovered quickly, sweeping her legs. She dropped, absorbed the fall, and rolled away. Gasps echoed through the gym. A few cadets started recording. Drac came again, this time faster, teeth bared. Elara raised a guard. He feinted left, then drove his knee viciously into her abdomen. She staggered, the air ripped from her lungs. "Illegal strike," she wheezed, but the instructor didn't move. Drac spun and kicked, catching her jaw. Blood filled her mouth. The crowd hooped. The buzzer hadn't sounded. Elara's vision blurred. Still no intervention. She rose slowly. Drac laughed. "Are you built from glass?" he sneered. "Maybe Earth should have sent dogs instead." The buzzer finally sounded. Elara lowered her arms, lips tight. Drac raised his hands in mock victory. She didn't look at the instructor. She didn't bother complaining. The lesson ended 10 minutes later. Elara walked stiffly to the locker corridor, past rows of smug faces and amused glances. She paused at the water station, spit blood into the sink, and wiped her mouth with the back of her sleeve. Then came the silence. Heavy. Intentional. She turned. Zurich stood there, broad, towering, and still in uniform. His eyes, deep violet slits beneath his ridged brow, locked on hers with undisguised disgust. "You dishonor combat," he said. Elara didn't flinch. "You mean your cousin dishonored it?" Zurich stepped closer. "You embarrassed him. Then you bled. You polluted the mat with your weakness. I followed protocol. He didn't. You should have knelt." She scoffed. "For what? Getting sucker punched? You speak like you matter." His voice dropped. "Like you belong here." Elara didn't respond. "I will give you one opportunity," Zurich said. "Apologize. Now. Or I will extract it." He reached forward, claws closing around her upper arm. That was his mistake. In a single fluid motion, Elara twisted, dropped her center of gravity, and pulled him forward using his own weight. His balance shattered. She stepped behind him, elbow bracing his spine, hand on his shoulder. A perfect control hold. No pain, yet. Zurich froze. Just for a second. His eyes widened. "Let go," she said, calm and cold. "This ends now." But he jerked backward, tried to throw her off. She released the hold, spun away, and put 5 feet between them. No one else was around. Just sterile walls and humming ventilation. He squared up. Elara sighed. Not here. Not like this. You do not choose when you fall, he snarled. And he came at her. Her training kicked in. She sidestepped, redirected his momentum, slammed her palm into the base of his neck. A stunner blow. He stumbled but kept coming. Bigger, stronger. But slower. Less precise. His strikes were wide. Hers were needlepoint. She ducked a claw swipe, rolled under a backhand, and delivered a snap kick to his left knee. It buckled. He roared. She moved behind him again, jabbed at his sciatic nerve. His leg gave out. Elara, barked a voice from the hallway. She stopped. Zurich was on one knee, breathing hard, eyes wide in disbelief. Instructor Korak stood in the doorway, several cadets behind him. The last 5 seconds had not gone unnoticed. Cadet Vance, Korak said, tone unreadable. A word. Now. Elara stepped back, eyes never leaving Zurich. He stayed on the floor, silent. She stood outside the head instructor's office 15 minutes later, staring at the wall. Inside, voices argued, about excessive force, about video logs, about whether humans were stable enough for advanced training. She wasn't listening. She didn't regret it. They thought humans were the weak link. Let them keep thinking that. Just long enough to be surprised. The training base smelled of ozone and oil. Rows of holographic dummies stood frozen along the walls. Lights flickered in sequence as the AI system calibrated the arena for its next round of combat simulation. Elara stood alone in the center. No instructors. No crowd. Just silence, the hum of energy fields, and the faint throb in her jaw from yesterday. She'd been granted private training time, a polite term for temporary isolation. The tribunal would review the incident later. Until then, she could train. Or cool off. Whichever they assumed she needed. Footsteps echoed behind her. She didn't turn. The door slid open fully, and Zurich entered. No announcement. No warning. No entourage. Just him. Taller, heavier, arms folded across his armored chest. His expression was unreadable, anger simmering behind tightly drawn lips. You were told to stay clear of me, Elara said calmly. I do not answer to cowards. She exhaled slowly and faced him. You shouldn't be walking on that knee. He stepped forward. You humiliated me. You grabbed me. I stopped you. End of story. No, he unclasped his combat gloves, letting them drop. The story ends when I say it does. She shifted her stance. You're here for another round? This time, he said, I won't hold back. The lights in the bay dimmed slightly as the arena registered both cadets inside. The safety perimeter flickered to life, yellow bands across the walls, indicating non-lethal combat mode. Zurich lunged first. His speed was better now. He didn't hesitate. But he was predictable. Muscle memory over strategy. Elara pivoted, letting his momentum carry past her, then slammed her elbow into his back. He grunted, twisted, and brought a clawed hand toward her throat. She blocked with her forearm, ducked low, and swept his legs. He fell hard, but rolled instantly and kicked upward. She absorbed the impact to her ribs and kept moving, never lingering in his range. The fight shifted into rhythm. Zurich was brute force. Every strike meant to end the fight. Elara was precision, every move calculated to disable, not destroy. 10 seconds in, she struck his collarbone. He stumbled. She pressed in, heel to knee, elbow to rib. He recovered, roared, and swung, just grazing her shoulder. She backed away, breathing even. You think this proves something? He spat. It proves I don't fold, she replied. He charged again, this time lower, intending to pin her. She sidestepped, grabbed his arm, and redirected his weight into a hard fall. Before he could rise, she drove her knee into his spine and locked his arm behind him. "Let go," he growled, teeth bared. "You grabbed me again," she said. "Same mistake. Same result." He struggled. "Still want this?" she asked. Silence. His breathing was heavy. Controlled. But his pride burned hotter than pain. He twisted violently, managing to knock her sideways. She rolled, kept her footing, and met his charge with a rising palm strike to the chin. His head snapped back. She followed up with a double kick to the chest, sending him crashing into the far wall. 35 seconds. He pushed off the wall slowly, fury in his eyes. A cut bled down the side of his face. He roared and came again. She waited. Timing perfect. As he raised his right arm, she ducked under and jabbed 2 fingers into the nerve junction near his shoulder. His arm went limp. Then she swept his good leg. He hit the floor, flat, stunned. She stood over him. "This is over." "No." His left hand clawed toward her ankle. She stepped back just enough. He swung upward. She answered with a strike to the side of his neck. Not fatal, but final. He collapsed fully, groaning, breath shuddering, body twitching involuntarily as muscle memory rebelled against the shutdown. 1 minute, 47 seconds. The door hissed open again. 3 cadets stood there. One of them, Zinthi, from the Altari wing, held a tablet. He'd been recording. The others stared, wide-eyed, silent. Zurich groaned on the floor, trying to sit up. Elara stepped back, letting him. She wasn't gloating. She wasn't proud. But she wasn't afraid either. "Are you done?" she asked. He didn't answer. Zinthi spoke quietly. "That was brutal." She held back, the second cadet whispered. Zurich finally looked up. His mouth opened. Closed. Then opened again. "Why?" he rasped. Elara tilted her head. "Why what? You could have broken me. I'm not here to win wars inside classrooms. I'm here to survive them." He stared at her for a long moment. Then he lowered his eyes. She turned and walked out without another word. Behind her, Zinthi muttered, "That vid's already bouncing around the coalition net. They're calling it 117 seconds, Earthborn precision." She didn't care. Let them watch. Let them whisper. Let them learn. The silence she left behind said more than any headline ever could. The tribunal chamber felt more like a stage than a courtroom. High-arched, metallic, and sterile. Every cadet trial was recorded, translated, and archived across the coalition's central databanks. This one? It was already trending system-wide under a dozen titles. Elara sat in the middle, alone at a crescent table. No lawyer. No allies. Just a straight spine and the calm she always kept in reserve. "Cadet Vance," said Chancellor Thyrix, a crystalline being whose voice resonated like wind through glass. "You've been summoned to answer for excessive violence against a fellow cadet. Do you understand the charge?" "Yes," she said clearly. "I do." A holoscreen ignited behind the tribunal panel. Footage played, Zurich lunging. Her dodging. A flash of movement. Then he was on the floor. The panel watched in silence. Another video followed, this one from the corridor the day before. Audio enhanced. "Zurich, apologize. Now. Or I will extract it." Elara remained still as it played. Chancellor Thyrix folded his multifaceted hands. "Your actions, calculated. Controlled. And yet devastating. Do you have any defense?" She nodded once. "Yes." "Proceed." "I used appropriate force to neutralize a physical threat. I did not initiate the conflict. I ended it." Whispers stirred in the seats behind her, observers, instructors, and visiting diplomats. A tall, leathery Zarnian stood to her left. Instructor Drex. Not friendly, but fair. She's telling the truth, he said. I reviewed the footage. Every strike she used was to disable, not to damage. She followed protocol with discipline most species don't manage in their third year. And yet a Svarkan cadet left on a stretcher, Chancellor Thyrix replied. Elara met his gaze. Because he assumed I wouldn't fight back. Silence. Drex folded his arms. You asked us to integrate humans into this academy. You wanted them tested. She passed. Others failed. Thyrix looked to the panel. They murmured among themselves, a flickering of translated voices echoing from the overhead system. Zurich entered a moment later, limping slightly but upright. His pride had taken a bigger hit than his body. His uniform was pristine, expression unreadable. You have the right to speak, Thyrix told him. Zurich looked at Elara. A pause stretched between them. I initiated contact, he said finally. She responded. I was overconfident. Murmurs again. Louder this time. You withdraw your claim of misconduct? The Chancellor asked. I do. Another beat passed. Thyrix tapped a crystal embedded in the table. Then we issue the following ruling: no punitive action against Cadet Vance. Combat privileges remain intact. This tribunal is closed. The lights dimmed slightly, signaling dismissal. Elara stood without a word and turned to leave. As she passed Zurich, he spoke. You could have broken me. She didn't stop. You weren't worth the effort. 2 days later, the Academy mess hall was louder than usual. Screens along the walls looped the now famous clip of the fight. Memes flashed. Quotes scrolled. You weren't worth the effort. 117 seconds of silence. Human reflex time, underestimated. Elara sat alone, as always. Her tray untouched. A tray dropped beside hers. She looked up. Zinthi, the Altari cadet who filmed the video, slid into the seat. You know that clip got translated into 39 languages? She raised a brow. Didn't know you were counting. Oh, I wasn't. He grinned. The Coalition news channels are. You're a trending tag in 4 sectors. She sipped her water. He leaned in. You're not just the human anymore. You're the Earthborn. There's a petition going around to start a human-led advanced tactics course. Some of the instructors signed it. She blinked. Why? Because fear evolves into respect. Eventually. He looked around. They're watching now, but not to laugh. Across the hall, 2 insectoid cadets nodded toward her. A Suthari even raised a fist in acknowledgement. Zinthi stood. Come find us if you ever want to train with someone who doesn't underestimate you. She gave a half-smile. Noted. He walked off. The buzz in the hall continued, but it felt different now. The air didn't hum with ridicule. It vibrated with something sharper: curiosity. Caution. Respect. That evening, Elara returned to the gym. The lights were dim, most stations offline. But the mat she'd fought on was lit. Clean. Quiet. She stepped onto it, rolled her shoulders, and began a simple kata, each move measured, smooth, flowing into the next. Her breath matched the rhythm. No aggression. Just presence. Someone entered. She didn't stop moving. Zurich watched from the edge of the mat, arms folded. He said nothing for a long time. You humiliated me, he finally muttered. You deserved it, she replied without pausing. Another pause. I had assumptions. You corrected them. She finished her sequence and turned. I didn't come here to change your mind, she said. I came to survive. To be better. You succeeded. He hesitated. Then stepped forward, offering a gesture from his culture, fist to heart, then extended outward. She stared. then returned the gesture. Without another word, he left. The next week, a new transport arrived. Fresh cadets. Nervous. Excited. Unaware of the legend now whispered in training halls. Elara stood at the back of the welcoming line, hands behind her back. One new recruit, a tall, pale-skinned Chlorathi, bumped into her deliberately as he passed. "Watch it, monkey," he said, smirking. She didn't flinch. Didn't speak. Just met his eyes. Silent. Calm. The cadet froze. Recognition flickered. Another whispered, "That's her." The smirk dropped. Elara stepped past him and offered her hand to the next recruit in line. "Welcome to the academy," she said.